I'm up in Scotland to visit Steve, who lives in Inverness and works in the distillery industry, so I think qualifies as a proper Scotsman. From our conversations, that makes him a details man who likes gadgets that work too, which is a pretty standard profile for our customers.
You're a star. Thanks very much for seeing us. You've got when did you get the Recoheat?
It would be
January?
Yeah, January 2022 I think it was. Was it 2023?
Yeah, 23, yeah. And it was because you built this extension.
That's right.
And you've got a bungalow.
3-bedroom bungalow.
3-bedroom bungalow.
We've got the vaulted ceiling in the extension, which part of the design was to give a sort of a good audible, good acoustics for a cinema room. So we've got the ceiling speakers and the vaulted ceiling. So little did I know when it come to putting the stove on in the winter that it would take a lot of time for the room to heat up.
Right.
So the stove's great, it kicks out a lot of heat, but unfortunately the heat kind of comes out and most of it goes up, and it just seemed to take a long time to heat the room.
Yeah.
And it was one day when I was up adjusting speakers, I realised how hot it was on the ladder, maybe 7 foot up.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, that's great. The heat's sitting up there, yeah. So I thought, right, I'll get a fan, which I did, which kind of is more like an air mover, and that disrupted the hot air up there, up in the void, and it did work to a certain extent. But I thought there's got to be something in the market that's more tailored to spreading the heat about, and I just did a few clicks searching on Google, and that's when the Recoheat came up. So then I started diving into that, and as usual I review everything for months, and as usual I try and rule out buying something rather than ruling it in, but the more I read up about it and looked at the design and the work that went into it, and I thought, right, I'm finding it hard now to not buy this. I spoke to my wife about it, and she's usually the stabilising influence in our relationship, so she's the one that would say no, it's a waste of money. But however, I talked her around, and then I bought it, and getting it fitted was actually the next hurdle.
Yeah.
So delivery, by the time when I phoned you and spoke about my requirements, and you organised to get one packaged up and sent up to me. So I took delivery of it, and then because a lot of the chimney stove installers in the area were booked up for months in advance, I couldn't get anybody to come out. I managed to get a sweep to come out and have a look, but unfortunately, because at the time it was just a straight flue from the stove up, I thought it was a case of lifting the whole flue, but I eventually got in touch with my stove installer, and he says it's bracketed up in the roof space there, so he says you won't move that. So I ended up, I was able to get them out, and what they've done is they hacked into, or they sound rough, but they modified the original flue, and they put a telescopic piece in. So they were able to remove that, get the Recoheat in, and slot the telescopic piece down over the top of it. So so that was great, because I was really hoping I could get it installed, and I was hoping to get it, like when you get any new toy, you want it installed quick and try it out. So I eventually got it running by, I think it was March. So I got March till April use out of it. So this September, when the stove went back on again, this is the first real test of getting the use out of it and being able to see if it works for us. And yeah, it does. It's been quite good in terms of the gas usages went down, and we'll run it later in the day and for not as long. So start the stove up maybe, say in a winter evening, say maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll feed it till maybe 7 or 8 at night. I'd say 7:30, and that way what the logs are put in at 7:30 will burn till say 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then the Recoheat just does the rest. But it heats up quicker as well. You could feel it. If I'm sitting on the couch you kind of get you feeling the tingling in your toes with the heat coming towards you.
Yeah.
And I let the heat build up in the room, and then once it's roasting, I just open the door and the heat floods along the hallway and goes into the rest of the rooms.
That's brilliant.
So it really has made a difference.
Oh, that's great. So it is going further.
It is, yeah. I've bought myself some temperature sensors, and I've got them planted. I've got a 4-pack, and I've got one in here, one in the living room, one in the main bathroom, and one in our bedroom, which is generally always a cold room. I don't know why. It's almost like there's insulation missing or something like that. But our bedroom has always been the coldest room in the house.
Right.
So generally, when we look at the app for the temperature sensors, it is still colder than